if you want. Anna, it's just the three of us. Oh my goodness. Okay, so feel free to just jump in whenever you want, because this is we're just gonna have hard eye contact with you for 45 minutes. All right. So welcome to Drupal powers the world's largest community of women entrepreneurs. Welcome to Drupal powers the world's largest community of women entrepreneurs. I'm Joe Crespo. We're gonna, I guess, we'll just jump right in. Kay, you want to start us off with the introductions?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Kay Thayer. I'm head of product and engineering at iFundWomen. I have been working in Drupal for the past 12 years. I started at Penn State University, worked there about 6 years. Started working in Drupal 7, worked my way up to Drupal 8. Now we're on Drupal 9. I moved from Penn State to Atten Design Group. I stayed there about 3 years, and I've been with iFundWomen for about 2 years.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm Joe Crespo. I'm the senior sales director here at iFundWomen. I started my career a little over 20 years ago as a graphic designer, and then made 2 quick pivots from graphic design to web development. Web developer for about a decade or so, and then moved into project management. From there, moved into a sales and marketing seat, and that's what I do at iFundWomen. So I joined iFundWomen in January because I thought that what they needed was my skill set was going to be complement what they needed. So just to sort of set up the problem that we're trying to solve, I know that there is a pay gap between men and women. This is women earn about 82 cents on the dollar. This is up from 65 cents in 82. So we're talking about something that's gone up 17 cents in 40 years. This has a knock-on effect, right? Just like compound interest, over the course of a career, women's earning power is much, much less, and it gets significantly less as women are moving to more mature parts of their career. Another gap is the funding gap, which is venture capital. Thank you. A little over, I got to get close to the mic. A little over 90% of all venture capital is not invested in women-owned businesses, women-founded businesses. And if you limit that to women of color, you're talking about less than 1% is invested. So this all has a domino effect. Obviously, fewer resources leads to less revenue. Women typically start their businesses with less capital. It's harder for them to raise money. And so essentially, we were founded to close this funding gap. This is our purpose, is to make sure that we're setting up women for success. These are post-COVID, this is women-owned businesses are the fastest growing segment, and just imagine what it would be like if they actually were on a level playing field. Since our inception 6 years ago, we've grown to an audience of a community of 300,000 entrepreneurs, and we partner with brands. Essentially, we work with brands to provide resources, funding for our community. So sometimes we're the big check people at events. Sometimes we're letting people, our community, know about what resources are available. We're connecting our entrepreneurs to the campaigns that our brand partners are working with to promote their businesses and get the word out. And we're building long-term lasting relationships and really helping amplify the careers and businesses of these women. And the reason why brands work with us is because we make a difference in what we do. We talked a little bit about the funding gap's impact. Less than 2% invested in women. Over 99% of women never own businesses, never get outside help, and then women typically start with half the capital that men start their businesses. We're very data driven as an organization. We take our data very, very seriously. We do a lot of user research. 3 in 4 women say they lack access to capital as a barrier to starting their business. Half of our entrepreneurs are looking for mentorship, and about a third are looking to build a network and grow. And so, what we heard on these 3 data points is capital, coaching, and connections are the things that our entrepreneurs are looking for. And so we structured ourselves around them. So we have a crowdfunding platform, we do grants and grant management. We have a partner provide low-cost loans through either our financial services partner or CDFIs. We have coaching, so workshops, webinars, free and gated content, one-on-one coaching, group sessions. We do business accelerators. We have our business accelerators tailored for our crowdfunding platform, and we really get great results there. We'll talk about that in a sec. We do networking events, pitch competitions, just basically opportunities to get people together. And then we also have a dedicated I Fund Women of Color community within our community to serve women of color, entrepreneurs and business owners. Kay and I both came from Atten Design Group. We actually have 4 Atten alums at IFW. We have myself, Kay, and then two Drupal core developers, Gabe Solis and Peter Weber. It's a phenomenal development team. Our CEO, Karen Khan, was she was a Google IPO. I think she was hire number 20 at Google. She ran their ad services, so she did pretty well. And so one of the reasons she started I Fund Women was in the aughts, she started her own, after she left Google, she started her own startup, and she was having problems finding funding. And when she, just like every startup does pivot, when she did the pivot, she said, oh, let me solve this problem and start I Fund Women. We have an extremely diverse team. Our leadership team is all women. Women of color are comprise most of our staff. And so, we take the work very seriously. We try to take ourselves not so much. I'm going to pivot to the platform since we're here to talk about Drupal. Our platform does a lot. So you're both developers. Okay, so you're gonna love all the you're gonna really appreciate what we're maintaining here. So our Drupal 9 site is a marketing site. We have authentic user experience for our community members. So as a community member, update my profile, my business profile, schedule my coaching sessions, and so on. Of course, I manage my crowdfunding campaigns. We have a crowdfunding platform. Operations, all of our scheduling, all of our customer service is managed through the website. Obviously, we do have API connections to Service Desk. We don't reinvent the wheel, but we do have we run our operations to the site, and of course, application management. All of our grants, our grant curation, and custom application forms are built in Drupal. So this is the part I think I'm super excited. This is the part I think is the more fun part. Reason why I wanted to come here today, which is just sort of talk about some of the success that we've been seeing working with Drupal. So our crowdfunding platform, we have an 11x higher than average industry fundraise on our platforms. The average is about 800. On average, our platform produces $9,000 per campaign. Once you get into coaching with us and do our business accelerator, the crowdfunding really takes off. So that's this is one of the reasons why the brands want to work with us, because they can provide a micro grant, and then through training we can then really plus it up. We just recently did a $1,500 micro grant that turned into a $500,000 crowdfunding campaign. So we're really proud of that work. I'm going to pass this over to Kay to talk about the details of the platform.
Thank you, Joe. So, since 2020, I Fund Women has been running grant programs through mostly Typeform. Typeform is a survey software platform. You probably recognize it from its really slick interface. It's got one question per page, and it's really slick and easy, but there were some major issues. The completion rate was really low. The time to completion was really high. There was no way for users to understand where they were in the context of the application. They couldn't go back and change their answers later. So they had to refill out the application every time they wanted to change some kind of response. And Typeform does not actually record incomplete responses. You have to get to the end of the form and hit submit for it to record at all. So we're watching just 60% of our data walk right out the door. And of course, for a company that's really built on data, very egregiously, we don't own the data. It's owned by Typeform. So We decided to bring all of our forms into Drupal. We used web form, and we saw tremendous results. We got all of the questions into, instead of one question per page, a bunch of questions per page, got it down to 6 pages. And we set up email handlers, very easy to do using web form out of the box. We have emails going to SendGrid for thank you emails, and we also have contacts going into MailChimp for our marketing emails. We also went even further with web form, and we set up an abandoned cart style email, like a reminder email that says, hey, you didn't fill out your form all the way. Go back in and do that. So we did that as well, and we put the whole thing behind a login wall, because if there is anything that we have learned is that people are if they're willing to fill out a bunch of information about grants, they're putting in a lot of personal information. They have no problem whatsoever creating an account, and actually they prefer it. So we did all of this in 3 sprints, and the results are incredible. So we saw over we saw a jump from a 30% completion rate in type form to a 65% completion rate in web form. After the abandoned cart email, we saw that jump to 80%, and of course with type form, simply not supported. So we saw a 250% improvement in our completion rate alone after just 3 sprints. We also built social features into the website, which this is another head-to-head comparison. We were scouting out social SaaS platforms. There's a few out there. They cost, there's a range, but we saw $30,000 a year was the going rate for a really fully featured social media SaaS. Of course, everything, they have a lot of features, but what they don't have is full data ownership. It was another huge sticking point for us, especially with social media, where you have issues with spam, scams. You really want to have full ownership over that data. So we had that in beta after 4 sprints. We used a very simple combination of node, comment, and group. A little custom code to put it all together. And yeah, we had it launch for half the cost. So now I want to get into the really fun stuff, the tech. I want to talk about DevOps. We have a team of 4 engineers, including myself, so ensuring our local environments all work together. And in the same way is really critical. So we use Docksol for our local environment. It's a layer around Docker, and it's really easy to use. Then we push our code into our shared repository in GitHub. We create pull requests there. We're heavily using GitHub. We create pull requests. We use the code commenting features and other GitHub features to do code review and manage our master branch. So once a push is made to GitHub, Circle CI takes over. Circle CI runs our code sniffs. It does testing. It does PHP unit testing and visual regression testing. And then it will build our code base from Composer. So we're only pushing up the Composer information, our custom code, and our Composer lock file. And Circle CI does the building and then takes that code and puts it onto the environment. So if we have a branch and we push it to GitHub and it's not the master branch, we also create a testing environment for that specific branch. So once we're using Pantheon for our host, They are the ones that handle the multi-devs. We also do all of our deployment through there. We use their dev stage live deployment flow. And they also provide Redis and Solar for our use. So let's talk about the modules that we use. So we have crowdfunding and coaching on our platform, which requires e-commerce. And if you're doing e-commerce in Drupal, you're using commerce. It's the backbone of our platform. We've integrated with Stripe and PayPal. We use, as I've mentioned earlier, we use SendGrid and MailChimp for our outbound emails. For our CDN, we're using Sage File Proxy and Fly System. We actually host all of our files. So we have a lot of user-submitted data and a lot of large user-submitted data, mostly media. We host it actually not on Pantheon, but on Google Cloud Storage. And we also use social auth and reCAPTCHA. Social auth is how people actually authenticate into the website. We have that set up with Google and Facebook. And then reCAPTCHA, I think this year deserves a huge shout out from me personally, because I think V3 has really saved our butts when it comes to spam. We were getting inundated, and then V3 came along, and everything it's good now. It's good now. More modules that we're using Monologue, which is a connector module that will override the logging on Drupal and send it to another service. So we have that set up with Loggly. We also use New Relic, which is also provided with Pantheon. We use Masquerade heavily. This is great for our operations team. Masquerade's been around forever. It just allows you to log in as another user temporarily and see what they're seeing, which is really critical when you have as many user accounts as we do. Also using Solar for our search backend. Quick Node Clone, which is really critical for our marketing team to get new pages stood up, and of course Group, which we're using for social features.
I think it's everything.
That's
wow.
Everything.
I'm here I could talk about sales and marketing at IFW, but I've got two devs in the room, so I imagine that you have more intelligent questions than a sales marketing person can respond to.
Yeah, I have questions.
Yeah.
So two actually. One question is, what do you use for visual regression? You said you have it set up for Circle CI, so any particular packages you use to do visual regression?
Oh, to do visual regression testing, we're using Backstop.
Okay. And the second, you mentioned that you install your composer packages on Circle CI and you post them Pantheon. Why do you not use it if the data composer is Pantheon? What's the advantage of installing on Circle?
Why don't we use Pantheon's composer tools? I think we just probably predate them. That might be it. I think they're fairly new. I think we used an upstream with Pantheon when we initially installed. But yeah, Circle CI also does the code sniffs and the testing, so it's easier to run it all through there.
Couple of questions.
Yeah.
So you said you guys host events. Where like your events usually based? So you guys like Denver? You're all over the US?
Yeah. So the company is actually headquartered in New York City, but we have a very big presence in Dallas. We haven't done events in Denver yet, but I am dying to do Denver events because a lot of what we've done in the last year. So IFW has been very, very fortunate in the sense that we've lived on word of mouth. Like there's some grant management that is very, very appealing to large organizations. and we've started a complete outreach campaign. And the reason I mention this is that a lot of the local partnerships that we have been organically built around where people are, and we've been much more intentional about making sure we're looking at where our users are and building relationships in those geo centers.
Well, you have stuff in Denver. Let me know.
Okay.
And then on the Circle CI side for the scripts that you use for compiling and stuff, is all that like custom tooling, or are you using something like VLT or something like pre-built deployment tool?
We're mostly just using Circle CI's configuration. Our Circle CI configuration file is actually, it's well, I wouldn't say it's small, but we're largely just leveraging the services that Circle CI has, their orbs.
That's fun. Yeah, that's how I think we do. So. I love it.
I'm going to check Hopin to see if anybody came in for any questions on Hopin. I just want to make sure that these folks aren't getting ignored. Let's see, where am I? Oof. Oof. There we go. All right. No questions. All right, good. We're good. All right. So.
You said you do a testing environment per pull request. How is that testing environment on Pantheon? Or
Yeah.
Is that, okay.
Yeah, so it's actually pretty easy to set up. We do it with Circle CI, and it detects that when there's a new push to a branch, it checks, first of all, the name of the branch. We actually have it set up so that our branches match our JIRA tickets, essentially. And when one of those branches is updated and Circle CI picks up on it, if there's not a multi-dev associated with that branch already, so it matches the multi-dev name too, it will create that. And if it's already created, then it just updates it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is using the, it actually installs the Pantheon Terminus command line tool in Circle CI, so it can do all that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, we didn't. I mean, one of the things I'm just thinking about, like, there's another win from Drupal that we didn't mention in our presentation, which was we recently launched a grant curation tool, which the people who run the grant programs are always like they spend a ton of time curating applications, and so we built them. Kay and her team built a tool that basically that took grant curation. I think it was a improvement like on the first grant. So it was a very Google Sheets curation to Drupal curation is just a huge improvement on what we can do now.
Yeah, I think the big trend is moving stuff into the platform is ultimately better for the business than trying to patch together all sorts of third-party systems.
How many events do you guys do in here?
So we have we've so far done 3 events this year. We did something in Dallas with Caress. We did something in New York City with Botox, and the third one I'm blanking on at the moment. But like the events. And then we have our Fun Forward Awards are coming up, and we also have a conference coming in October in LA with Angel City Football Club. They're awesome. They're a women's soccer. They're and WSL expansion team in LA. They've a community-minded they're community organizers. They say that they're a community organization before they're an entertainment organization. So I just love working with them, and we'll be doing their stuff. And then we're talking with some other folks about some smaller events, because a lot of those are bigger events. And in fact, I don't want to go too into the weeds on like all the stuff I've been doing.
I'd ballpark it like we do a dozen grants a year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but and I mean, a lot of what the reason I'm joining the team is that is about outreach and building partnerships and new relationships with brands. So that's super fun. It's been, and by the way, I have to tell you, I used to joke about marketing a website that gives away money, and here I am. It's great. But I say the other thing that is that one of the other benefits of this working at this place is we also get the opportunity to coach
entrepreneurs directly, and those interactions are super fun. It's like there's a rah element to working there that I really love. Like I think the first week I came from an agency, and it was a big culture shock, and I thought, like my first week, I was joking, like every meeting is 15 minutes of compliments, because it's just like a culture of compliments there. But it is all, I think, comes from like everybody does coaching. Like we all have a coaching role, and it's just that interaction is like, it's just like it's fuel. So it's fantastic. That part is fantastic. There are other parts that feel like a job, but that part doesn't. But yeah. So any other questions, or should we just buy you guys coffee somewhere? Thank you so much for coming out. Really appreciate it. Oh, thank you.
Thank you for